I'm Chunbo.
And this is our apartment in Seattle, Washington.
Hi.
Hey!
How's it going?
So this is our living room. The apartment it's a loft, and the first thing we did when we walked in this room was we saw the 20-foot ceilings. And I feel like our whole lives, my main goal in life was like need to get a loft. Like since a little girl, I was like need to have a loft, need to live in a loft. So when we first came here, I was like, this was the room was the first thing we saw. And we saw the beautiful French doors and windows that like go all throughout the house. And the fact that the ceilings were so high and the whole thing was windows, and there was so much light. Chunbo kind of did a lot of furnishing, so she impromptu bought this couch for $500.
Oh, I literally own like every piece of furniture in this place.
I'm so cheap, and I'm like, I'm not buying anything.
I'm like, you know what? I need to have a cute place, so I'm just gonna buy it.
So she bought this like mid-century mod dresser, and then this one day she like texted me and she's like, Joonmi, I did something really bad. I'm like, Chunbo, what'd you do? And she was like, I spent $500 on the couch.
Well, when you study interior design, you can be like, oh, my space can be like a profile.
Yeah.
So
a few little pieces here that I love or I'm obsessed with. I bought this for Chunbo when I was in Paris, and I thought the Josephine Baker was so gorgeous. I love the bananas. I was obsessed with the whole thing, and I didn't know who Josephine Baker was until later on, and Chunbo like was researching her, and we were like, she's like looking at all these videos, like her old dances and stuff, and she's like, holy shit, Joonmi, that's like the girl you bought the painting of. And I was like, what? Or the poster of. And then Chunbo bought this. We went to Cuba and bought like some incredible old like Cuban posters and old, like they had this really cool old cinema scene. This was the Charlie Chaplin was one of the ones she bought there, which we like are obsessed with and thought was so cute.
This is my favorite. Like we've just been like collecting things. I found this place is so weird. I feel like a hipster drinking from a LaCroix. Like hand that off. I found this underneath the fireplace, and it's just like this cool little like bell artifact thing, super weird, but just this place is so insane because it has all these little quirky special things. Like
we would find things in the garden.
Primary colors, like to style, just like everything is so kind of thought out but unique at the same time. We just like collect a lot of like random little knickknacks from like Goodwill and stuff. I love this one. This is my favorite.
So the architect was a Swedish architect that was a professor in Seattle.
Name, right? Folke
Nyberg. So he built this place, and the original idea was that the front would be they would rent out to make money, and originally I think it was like a little shop or something like that. And then the family lived here. They had like 3 or 4 kids. The family lived here, and they had like 3 floors up. And then in the back on the left-hand side was the studio. It was really random, but my uncle is an architect here. I was explaining to him like, oh, Uncle Tom, I just moved into this beautiful apartment. It's on 56th Street. There's like 20-foot ceilings. It's like gorgeous. It's super like Nordic, Scandinavian style. And he was like, oh, that sounds really familiar. And I explained to him more, and like it kind of unraveled that like this guy Folke Nyberg was actually my uncle's like professor. And this house is like somewhat historic. It's like a artistic landmark in Seattle. There's so many little details. Like he built this table downtown Ballard. He won the contest. He won this contest where they had like, it was to make pendants. So whoever like made the best light pendant, or like the one that they aesthetically preferred, wins, and they get to line their pendant on downtown Old Town Ballard. So he won the contest, so these same lights are lining all of downtown Ballard, which is like a beautiful area, and like it's super historic and very quaint and pretty, and he got to keep one. That marble was from like one of the first banks in Seattle, and like he took it and restored it, and like every little thing in this house, there's like a lot of history of Seattle that he kind of just took and reclaimed.
The kitchen, I don't even know what to call it. It used to be like a display in Sears, like back in the day. His wife was telling us about it, and she kind of like introduced all these cool like reclaimed projects that he has going on here. But this is something that they bought like a antique shop in Pioneer Square, and it's like a lingerie display in like the 30s or something.
Yeah,
like that.
from like way back in the game of Sears,
long time ago. So that stuff's old, and then I have another one in my room, in my loft. It's kind of like my shoe display, but here's the plate display. So
plates and shoes.
It's been underwear at one time.
Slutty plates and shoes.
But yeah, we can show you over here kind of like, it's every room is very unique to its purpose. So I feel like this is kind of blue on purpose because when the sun comes in here, it kind of just like radiates all this light in like a dark room, and Seattle's just kind of dark in general, so he uses like these little things to brighten it up. We have this like old 50s avocado green oven.
Love the avocado green.
It's funny, I found out avocado green was the color of the year last year, and that's when we moved in. We have this nice little courtyard here that we're just obsessed with. Bunch of little knickknacks. If you like walk through, you see we have this like Buddha shrine. But yeah, this used to be his like studio where he'd, I guess, do his architecture stuff, right?
Yeah, it's like artistic studio.
His artistic studio in general, yeah. Yeah, and then we have this whole area. Somebody else lives here. I don't know what that's used for, but I think it attaches to this whole other thing, which upstairs, it's crazy. She has like a grand piano and like another loft in there.
Door at the end of the terrace is like our laundry room, which is quite fun. So the dining room in general, we were always kind of back and forth about it, because on one hand, the first time we walked in, we were like, this table is handmade by them, by the architecture and their family. They've had it forever. And when we first moved in, they asked us if we wanted to keep it. And we're like, of course, because it's like, my whole thing is like, especially our age, when do we have a time where we have this huge, beautiful room where we can have a long, gorgeous, like lap supper kind of table? When we first moved in, as well as now, when everybody comes, is kind of the room we hang out in. And we kind of like always go back and forth, because on one hand, Chunbo and me too, like I totally agree that to get rid of this table and to make like a small table and like have more of like a loungy space would also be incredible. And it's this like hard back and forth, because like we love the idea of a long table, and again, like you don't always have the space to have such a long dramatic table that you can like seat so many people. But without this huge table in the way, you could also do so many other things in this room. We've had so many incredible nights with all of our friends, like on the table, people outside chatting, like everyone gathered around the table. And I think when I first saw the table, that was like what I thought. I was like, we could literally fit so many of our favorite people on the table. It's like this special hub. And like I love to wake up on a morning, and if I go into work late, I can like do my emails and drink my coffee and do all my work on the table, and the sun's coming in. It becomes such a versatile room because of that. We went to Cuba. The art scene there was so cool. Just a bunch of local people putting stuff up. It's like their little gallery. Chunbo saw it, and she was like, it was like her first painting. She saw it, she's obsessed with it. And like we left, like went to get coffee or walk around, and we left Chunbo like haggling with these people for like a half hour. And by the end of the trip, by the end of like the session, like they're like in love with Chunbo, and they gave her a free painting, and like, because she just like loved their artwork so much, and they're like so excited about it.
This room in general is just like perfect to kind of have like a little gallery type thing.
Little corner. I think I love this little
this corner. Little corner, we've got another Cuba poster, little vampire with a cigar. This tree that I paid way too much for. I lugged that from a thrift store and like 3 miles away on the bus. Yeah, then we have this like private little area here that's nothing special at all, but it has its own charm, and it's our own little spot. We've had nights where just like we have friends out here, and it's really, you know, we're just like having a beer, laughing, having a good time. It's my motorcycle's house right now.
We have our little fireplace that we love.
Also reclaimed marble from like one of the first banks in Seattle, which is really cool.
We've been to more countries than just Cuba, but seeing that Cuba was the first place we went to all together when we just moved in, so we got like artwork, and we got this thing, and it's not up yet. And I'm gonna have a friend come and properly install it. It's very dangerous, so I'm gonna have like a proper ladder and like maybe put it in a place where you can't like crack your neck or anything on it. I love the idea of like all the walls being accessible. So even though the ceilings are so high and the room's only so big, but the ceilings are so high, I feel like there's so much more to do with the space. So to have things like ladders or like plants hanging from the walls, or just like a hammock hanging on the wall randomly, I think just like makes you like you literally bounce off the walls and gives the space much more life and feels so much more accessible in every way, and I love that.
It's not supposed to be a bedroom, but I like the idea of waking up to a big open space where lots of light comes in. I don't need to have walls. Judy's one of my best friends. She's family at this point, so basically this used to be, I think, like a studio type thing. Cool chalkboard here. This is the same thing that we had in the dining room, that reclaimed underwear display. So I just have like my shoes here, bag, hats, kind of have like a really casual, almost like high school-y room going on here. Right over there we have this cute little, we just like walk up here. Should I just get up and risk it?
I have come
just over here. We have this like little window.
I've come home at like midnight to her singing like Moon River in the moonlight through the window. We've had like drunken nights when we came home and like 3 of us would all sit up there like birds and smoke cigarettes out the window. And, like I come home to Chunbo just like a little too high, giggling up there all alone, like walking like super scared. Like it's kind of a fun spot.
I keep it simple now. I used to be super into makeup and, you know, the next best foundation and mascara and whatnot. And I feel like I kind of narrowed down now what I really feel comfortable in, which is just like simple. Garnier is actually like my favorite tinted moisturizer. And then I just mix a little bit of like this Makeup Forever concealer, tiny drop with that. I love the Glossier highlighter. I was like telling you before, this is my favorite thing. I always get compliments on it. And then yeah, the lip balm and the moisturizer is like my favorite. And this is my scent. I like don't tell people, but this is it. I feel like you should never share what your perfume is, because then someone steals your special personal slice, but that's it. This stuff is the like first thing that I've noticed like a real difference in my skin.
Really?
Just super calming. Like I used to like break out all the time, and now I feel like it's just totally chilled out.
I feel like it's still like my room isn't exactly what I want it to be, but like just as far as like the way I have it set up. When I was younger, I was very close to my granddad. He traveled the world a lot and he would always buy things from around the world. I love so many different types of design, interior design, and like styles, but the one thing that always imprinted on me was how the way he always had he had these gorgeous homes and they were always set up so nicely. He lived in the Caribbean, so you would always have like loads of palms and plants. He would always have a gigantic big white bed, and then the color came from like these awesome ethnic pieces he would get from overseas, like when he would travel the world. So like this Egyptian cement painting rock thing he got in Egypt, and it's something that I grew up my entire life seeing, and it was like very nostalgic to see because like I've literally seen it my whole life. That little palm tree sketch was when a friend of his stayed at his house and drew that sketch of him of his backyard. That poster, it's like super bright and almost too poppy from what I would like, but since it's so white and like simple in here, I kind of like the pop. Chunbo gave me that lamp and I just like love the cement against the white with like the color of like the ethnic stuff. I had this phase where I was obsessed with making furniture, and like particularly copper piping furniture. So like I made this and I made that, and I felt like they weren't nice enough to put in the rest of the apartment, but there was something I really liked about them, and I was like, it's my first thinking like furniture piece I made, and like I just like wood and copper and simple things, so I was really into that. I grew up in New York a lot of my life, and my boss bought me like the little New York skyline, and I love it so much. It's like it reminds me of home. And this was a random artist before I got really into music that my dad really liked, and I always listened to with him. The bathroom is super simple. I love like a Persian, like it's such the thing now, but I love a Persian rug on white. On anything white. So I got this Persian rug because I felt like Persians can be a little strange in a bathroom, but it also adds so much color and it makes it feel like it's not just a bathroom. Chunbo bought these incredible little titty mat from Cold Picnic at first. I'm like, are those like lopsided like cyclops like abstract mountains? But like it was so, I love them. Like they're like our little boobies, and like they're just so cute.
I feel like they kind of real life, you know, they're not little boobies and we don't have little boobies. So. I was like, it's us, come on.
We have boobs and they just match a person, they match what's on
But
us.
this bathroom is very like boobs everywhere. Like she has another ethnic booby thing here,
Yeah.
boobs, and then you got more boobs and nudity, and that's, I guess, the bathroom represents it. You know, the shower's right here, so.
Yeah.
But we love this bathroom. You can like look out into the courtyard. Sometimes you think someone's watching you, but.
Yeah. I definitely see in sometimes.
But it's nice. I kind of just like the open
simple,
space. I like
yeah.
to believe nobody's watching.
Yeah. And it's simple, but it's like, it makes me really happy to wake up on a morning and get ready.
I love the Persian in there. I think it's such a nice pop.
And that's our beautiful little home.